Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are going over the top 5 best home golf / commercial golf simulators on the market. These things are the best of the best in terms of accuracy, features, and usability. A lot of these launch monitors are over $10,000 in price, and while we're going to take price into consideration a little bit, this video is all about which ones are truly the best of the best for a home golf simulator. Now, coming in at number 5 is the ProTeeVX. This is going to be the cheapest launch monitor of all the ones we're about to list, but it is a really, really good device. It has incredible features, and when I tested this at the PGA show, I couldn't believe all the things they gave me. Now, it gave me normal things like club path, face angle, but it also showed like the spin of the ball, like legitimately a recording of the ball close up. And some devices kind of do this, but like just the emphasis they had on really highlighting in high definition how your ball was spinning was really cool. Now, before we get any further, I do want to say this is the one I've tested the least. All the other devices I've done full tests with. This one, I've done the least amount of testing. Now, before you get into like, okay, you're reviewing these, how have you not done a full test on this? I will say the overhead launch monitors are a lot harder to do full tests with than kind of the ones that sit behind you or beside you like you see over here. Those ones, they can get shipped to me. It's easier for me to test and ship back. It's a lot harder to get a $10,000 unit sent to you, take the day to install it on the ceiling, test it, send it back. They're just a ton more work to get that initial setup done. And so while I've done a good amount of testing on this device, I'm gonna let you know it's not as much testing as the next 4. So what does this mean? Now, what I'm gonna say for this, I still feel pretty solid it's at number 5, but if we did more testing, potentially we find out it's even better than what we've been hearing and what we've seen in our initial test, it could potentially be higher on the list. Now, that being said, let's go over the accuracy. When we did our test with it, we thought it was very accurate. We didn't really have a ton of things that showed up that made us feel like anything was off on it. But one of the things that I wasn't so sure on was the fact that they got their club data from like an AI model. Now, a lot of people use AI, it's like the buzzword right now, but one of the things I don't love about it is when they say AI, it's kind of saying like, oh, we're not really measuring this. And what I found with some other devices that use AI, it's not necessarily extremely accurate. So the fact that this device doesn't have club stickers, I love that, because when all the buddies come over, that means you can get club data without club stickers, but I'm not always super confident in how accurate it is with this AI model. So if I had the choice, I would like to be using stickers. Like some of the devices will say, hey, we'll get your club data as good as we can without stickers, but you put the club stickers on the club, it's gonna be a lot better. And that's really what I'd like to see. So final thoughts from my testing, I think it's a really good device. I think it's a legitimate device at the price point. Probably not as good as the other devices we've tested. And I've got that, like I said, through kind of my minimal tests, but then also talking to other creators who have done full tests. So if you guys want to look a little more into this one, I'm going to link a video from my buddy Mitch at Handicap Golf, who has done some deep dive tests, and you can look a little more into it that way. Next up, coming in at number 4, we have the TruGolf Apogee. Now, when I talked about this device last year, it was truly groundbreaking in some of the things it did. One of the first things I want to highlight is the immediate responsiveness when you hit that ball. It takes off in 1/3 of a second from when you hit it to when you see it on the screen. And that's something that like you don't really realize how cool it is until you've actually done it. Coming from some of these other cheaper launch monitors, you have like a second or so delay, but seeing the ball take off in 1/3 of a second makes you really feel like you're playing golf. It feels very immersive. It feels much more like a real shot than kind of this gamey simulator shot. Now, the TruGolf Apogee comes in at $9,000, and you can actually get that $900 off with code GolfBusters10. So for $8,100, it's a great price point for an overhead launch monitor for home, and for a business, it's a really affordable price for if you want to run a commercial business. Some of these other devices that are extremely good, like the Foresight Falcon or a Trackman, they're upwards of $15,000. So to run a commercial business with that type of device, you're going to need a lot of money up front to make it happen. Now, one of the big reasons I'm gonna have the TruGolf Apogee at number 4 is I just don't think the ball data accuracy is quite on par with the next 3 units we're gonna talk about. Now, when I say not on par, I don't want you to think that it's like bad. It's not bad, it's extremely accurate, and all these launch monitors are extremely close. But the next 3 launch monitors we're gonna talk about, they're probably within 99% of the carry yardage of every shot in real life and the offline. Now, where is the Apogee a little worse in accuracy? Well, carry yardage, when you have the device set up properly, I find that it's extremely close to the top 3. So you're probably wondering, well, if carry yardage is right there, then where is it a little bit worse? Well, I found with the Apogee, the shot shape on miss hits, we're gonna talk about gear effect, it's not quite as good as the other one. So what gear effect is, basically if you miss hit the ball on the toe or the heel, that's gonna cause a different type of spin. So let's say I'm hitting a shot that should be a slice, but I hit it really far on the toe. Hitting it far on the toe will cause that ball to draw more. So that's where the Apogee I found struggles to kind of pick up that gear effect. But the good news is gear effect happens on miss hits. So when you're hitting the ball good or in the sweet spot, it's gonna read that shot shape fine. It's just not always gonna pick up that left and right accuracy perfectly when it's missed on the toe or the heel. But that being said, it's about half the price as some of these top tier units. So you gotta weigh your options there. Now, one of the other things that I think holds it back, if I'm being honest, I really like their software E6 Apex, but when I've tested it, I feel like it's still a couple of months away from being really, really well polished. So one of the things I like about these other launch monitors, GS Pro currently is our favorite software, and you can use these other launch monitors with their kind of homegrown software, and you have the option to use GS Pro. So while I think E6 Apex is gonna be able to compete with GS Pro, I just don't think functionality-wise it's quite there yet, and that's why the TruGolf Apogee is currently at number 4. And then one quick thing I think I forgot to add, if you do get E6 Apex, which you need for the Apogee, it's $300 a year. Now, I do like the software, but I think the fact that it's tied to a software is kind of a con. You kind of want to have the option to pick whatever software you want. But like I said, E6 Apex, really good software that I think is only going to get better. Now, moving into the top 3, we are now into the big boys. These are the best of the best. Accuracy is going to be right there with these devices, and really we're going to be nitpicking for which one is number 1 versus number 2 versus number 3. So coming in at number 3, I have the Foresight Falcon. Now this device is $15,000 with code GolfBusters 10. It's going to take like $750 off, so you can get that for $14,250. Now, Foresight is top tier in terms of accuracy. So when you're talking ball data accuracy, club data accuracy, I don't know if anything really gets better than Foresight. I think there's maybe one ball data accuracy thing that I found is wrong, and that's a very specific issue with guys that have high ball speeds and hit very low draws, where sometimes spin gets off and carry yardage gets off for that. But for 98 to 99% of golfers, I think this is just an incredibly accurate device. Club data, ball data, I never second guess a shot on the Foresight Falcon. And I'm really impressed with the club data accuracy. After testing some of these other overhead launch monitors, I just never second guess a single metric in the club data. What I mean by that is there's some other devices where you'll get numbers that just don't add up. Maybe you'll hit it off center on the face and it'll say your driver had a 150 smash factor, and you're like, okay, well, I know that's not a perfect drive, so something's off, club speed's off, something's wrong with it, right? The Falcon, I never second guess a metric. Now, a couple downsides of the Falcon, and the reason I have it at number 3, probably the first one is the club stickers. So that's a little bit hypocritical of me because I'm talking about how good the club data is, but I don't love that I have to have 4 stickers on every single club to get extremely accurate club data. It takes a lot of time. I hardly want to do it myself. I know I'm not doing it for all my buddies who come over, that I just don't have time for that. So that's kind of my biggest one right there. I don't love the club stickers. I wish they could incorporate radar into the device to get the club data. And then number 2, and my probably my biggest gripe with this device is the fact that it doesn't have video replay of your club. So while it does tell you your club path, your face angle, it can show you a graphic of what it looks like. It shows you a graphic of where the ball hit on your club face. It doesn't have video or photo of those two things to show you. And after testing all these devices, that's one of my favorite things. I love to see the club path come through in slow motion. There's something about that visual feedback that I think helps you improve at a much faster rate. And I love the photo of where it's actually hitting on the club face. I know that it tells you in their kind of graphic picture, but there's something different about actually seeing it that I think just clicks better in a lot of people's minds. And then finally, the price. I know I said price doesn't matter, but it does a little bit, and this device is pretty expensive, coming in at $14,250. Now, that being said, no subscription fees. I love the Foresight software. I think it's incredible. So you can buy that device and you're done. The only thing I probably would recommend is GS Pro is a great software, so a lot of people add that on for $250 a year. But I think it is a big positive that there isn't a big subscription fee like some of these other devices, cough, cough, Trackman, that's over like $1,000 a year. Now, before I finish up with the Foresight Falcon, I want to say any of these top three that I name, I think you can't go wrong with any of them. They're incredible devices, and if I say one is number one or one is number two and you really want to get number three, go for it. Honestly, there's not a huge difference between these three, and I think they're all great. All right, coming in at number two, gonna be a little bit of a shocker for some people, and that is the Trackman IO. Now, I want to start things off with, I said we're taking price into consideration a little bit, and that is the main reason the Trackman is at number two. If I had an unlimited budget, money to blow, the Trackman IO is probably the one I would get for a home golf simulator or commercial business. Like the Foresight Falcon, incredible ball data accuracy. Foresight, Trackman, really the industry leaders in that regard. And one of the big reasons I'm putting it above the Foresight Falcon is the fact that you don't need club stickers to get accurate club data. Now, like some of the devices I talked about earlier, they don't need club stickers, but then they use like an AI model, and it's not always the most accurate club data. Trackman is combining camera and radar. So they're using the radar to get the club data, which I've always found radar to get extremely accurate club data, and it does that. So it gets the extremely accurate club data from the radar, and then it gets its ball data from the camera. And now the reason that's important, their old Trackman, the Trackman 4, it had a hard time picking up that gear effect. It kind of estimated it. Now it's measuring that side spin or that spin axis to get that gear effect. So now you know you're getting that awesome carry yardage accuracy, awesome offline accuracy, and it just comes with an incredible amount of data. We'll kind of overlay some stuff right now, but you get the video replay of your club. You can set up swing cameras kind of like you can with all of this. And another thing I like about the Trackman, I really like their software. Now, I don't love that it's necessarily tied to the software, but its software is top of the line. The graphics are incredible, and it's really hard for me to come up with things to say about Trackman sometimes because it's just top of the line. Like, everything's awesome. And if you're gonna go with Trackman and you're not worried about money, that's what you're gonna get. You're just gonna get amazing everything when you get this product. And there's a reason so many top tour pros use it. There's a reason so many commercial businesses use it, is because it's just that good. And then the final reason I'm gonna put Trackman at number two, it's very expensive. All right, you're talking around $14,000 for the unit. And then on top of that, if you wanna get the complete home simulator setup, it's like $1,200 a year in subscription fees. That's just insanely high. And so for me, that's probably one of the biggest reasons it's knocked down to number two. I think the initial cost is probably fair, but I think when you add in those subscription fees are just way too high for really what it should be and compared to everything else. All right, guys, and now it is time for the number one ranked golf simulator, and that is going to be the Uneekor EYEXO2. And to prove that we're not just blowing smoke, that it is the number one unit, you will see behind me a Uneekor EYEXO2 on the ceiling. We used our own money to buy that. We originally bought a Falcon, we returned it and paid for the Uneekor EYEXO2. This is not a paid promotion. This is not some company telling me to promote the Uneekor. This is me saying, this is the device we bought, this is the device we use, and all things aside, this is the one we have liked the most. Now, a couple reasons for that. One, ball data accuracy, extremely accurate. When we talk about Trackman, Foresight, Uneekor should be up there with those two. We found that the ball data between those three devices, incredible. Next thing we love, video replay and photo impact of your club. Every single time I take a shot, I can look at my club path, I can look at the impact of where it hit on my club, and those are just, like I said earlier, incredible features. It's something that, well, like the Foresight Falcon, and it shows you a graphic of where it hit on your face, there's just something better about having the actual picture and video to help you reinforce those swing habits. Next, software is incredibly easy to use. I boot up the Uneekor softwares, I connect it to GS Pro, and I like to say GS Pro, Uneekor, that's our #1 combo right there. We love that combination, and it's just super simple. Everything works great. And one other thing I want to add with that not a lot of people talk about is the indicator of when it's time to hit your ball is very simple. It's a green light and a ding. There's like a ding that goes off when it's time to hit the ball. The Foresight Falcon doesn't have that ding, so what would end up happening a lot of the time is if you put it slightly out of the zone or it's not picking it up, you think you're fine, you don't really look up at the green light all the time, and then you swing, you hit your ball, and it doesn't read. So what I'm getting at is just the usability, functionality. Everything is so good with this device. And on top of that, probably the #1 reason this is our #1 ranked is the price is just so good. Now, I don't know what the sale price is at the moment, but I've actually seen it go as low as $9,000 for the device. And whatever it is, know that you can get 5% off with code GolfBusters10 and the link below, like you can with all these other devices. But it's just a lot cheaper than these other devices with low subscription fees. Now, another feature I love about Uneekor, super easy to set up swing cameras. So what I'll do is I have one of my just video cameras, I hook it up to the Uneekor, and then I have a swing camera as well. Now, what are the downsides of the Uneekor EYEXO2? Well, really the only things I've found. #1, you gotta have club stickers to get accurate club data. I don't really fully trust the club data without club stickers, but at least you get it and you have the video replay and the photo impact so you can look at it. So even if you're not sure about the club data without the club stickers, you got the video just to see it. But even with the club stickers, I'm not like fully convinced it's as accurate with the club data as a Trackman IO or Foresight Falcon. There's a lot of times I get a club speed that I'm not quite sure about, and then it'll say my driver smash factor was 150, but then I can look at the video and see I didn't hit the ball perfectly on the center of the face, so that leads me to believe, okay, the club speed's probably a little off there because it definitely wasn't a 150 smash factor, and so the club speed might be a little bit off. But overall, reason it's still ranked #1 is your averages are all gonna be there. So while I'm not sure shot to shot if it's like as accurate as the Falcon or the IO, your averages are essentially gonna be the exact same over the long run on club speed, club path, all those sorts of things. And then second, subscription fees are a little high. We recommend getting GS Pro, so that's $250, and then their third party just licensing fee to use GS Pro is $200. So you're looking at $450 a year. Now, good news, if you buy the Uneekor EYEXO2 with our links below, it's gonna give you GS Pro free for the first year, but don't love kind of the $450 cost a year to use the device. But that being said, it's still our #1 device. Initial cost, a lot lower than the other two. And just guys, usability, functionality, overall accuracy, it's the most enjoyable, accurate simulator experience we've had. So that's the reason it's #1. It's the reason we chose that device for our own simulator as our main device. Even though I probably think the club data on the Foresight Falcon is a little bit more accurate, just the overall features, usability, the fact that we don't have 10 balls every day where we hit and it doesn't read it like we did with the Falcon, since the Falcon didn't have a sound indicator to let us know that we were good to hit. And like we said, if we had all the money in the world, we'd probably get a Trackman, but it's just so expensive and I don't want to pay $1,200 a year in the subscription fees for Trackman to just use it in my house. So final thoughts, all these devices are extremely good. Our top 3 are extremely, extremely close. And overall, we think that Uneekor EYEXO2 just has the best combination of accuracy, price, and features. But everyone's a little different, and we wouldn't blame you for getting, honestly, any of these 5 on the list. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please use our links and discount codes below to get these products at the lowest possible price, and we'll see you in the next one.